Are you feeling trapped in your home, like the walls are squeezing you tighter every day? You're not imagining it. But what if I told you there's one design hack that can make your home feel 50% bigger instantly? And no, it's not about throwing away half of your belongings or knocking down walls. It's surprisingly simple. And once you know it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Ready to have your mind blown? Let's dive in. Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lorenzo Centioni, the Italian architect based in London and founder of Centioni Architects. My specialty is making small homes feel big, not necessarily by adding square footage, but through thoughtful design. And in today's video, I want to share one of my favorite design techniques with you, something that's worked for my clients again and again. No matter if you're watching me from the US, the UK, Australia, or from the moon, this trick works everywhere. Most homes don't actually feel small for the physical size. They feel small because of how the space is arranged. Poorly thought out layouts, blocked sidelines, oversized furniture, and cluttered corners all contribute to a sense of tension and tightness. It's not square footage that's limiting you, it's visual weight, the way your eye is stopped, distracted, or overwhelmed as it tries to move through the space. The good news is that you don't need to knock down walls or buy a bigger home, because if the problem is perception, then design is the right solution. And once you understand how to guide the eye, lighten the load and restore the flow, your home can feel dramatically more open, calm and spacious, no matter its size. Let's get into it, shall we? The secret to make any space feel calmer and larger isn't color, furniture, or layout. It's this: create one long visual axis. This is a straight line of sight that runs through your home, ideally from the entrance to a window or a key feature, uninterrupted. When your eye can travel freely, your brain interprets the space as more expansive, more breathable, and more peaceful. Architects use this trick everywhere, in tiny studios and grand halls alike, because it works. Okay, let's break it down room by room. The first one I want to tackle with you is the living room. Stand at the threshold of the room. Is a tall armchair, shelving unit, or floor lamp interrupting your view? Then shift or remove it. Try to maintain a clean view across the room, ideally towards a window, artwork, or focal point. You want to balance your furniture. Group heavier furniture like a sofa or media unit along one side. Avoid scattering large items across the room. It visually chops the space and makes it look quite congested. Stick with one large heavy rug or leave the flooring bare. Mismatched rugs or multiple textiles cause the eye to stumble and break the axis. Consider placing a row of soft-wall lights, candles, or even a table lamp at the far end of the room to draw the eye outward. Light can be used to extend perspective. Maintain consistent tones along your main axis. Neutrals or soft hues in furniture, floors, and walls let the eye glide. Avoid jarring contrasts that act like stop signs. Number 2 is the master bedroom. Orient the bed thoughtfully. Ideally, the bed should not block the entrance line of sight. If the bed is placed centrally, keep surrounding decor minimal to preserve openness. Tall dressers or wardrobes near the doorway. If possible, place them away from the main line of sight, or select low-profile alternatives. Avoid a mix of bold bedding, patterned curtains, and conflicting rugs. Harmonious colors and subtle pattern help maintain visual flow. Number 3 is toilet and bathroom. Keep the entrance clear. In tight bathrooms, a laundry basket or freestanding shelf near the door can immediately shrink the space. Tuck items away or mount them. A mirror placed at the end of a visual axis can double the perceived depth. However, in most bathrooms, the far end is occupied by showers or bathtubs. The reflection of the shower screen is enough to create a sense of openness. Use consistent materials. Floor tiles should ideally run in one direction, and wall colors should remain light and cohesive. Avoid abrupt changes in tone or texture. Number 4 is the kitchen. Declutter the view line. Kitchens often suffer from visual clutter. Keep counters clean and store bulky appliances out of sight if not used daily. You can extend the counter line. A continuous worktop or shelf that runs the length of the kitchen can act as a strong visual guide and create a sense of elongation. I suggest you to choose coordinated cabinetry too. Mixing upper and lower cabinets colors can be striking. However, if the space is tight, stick to a single, muted palette to preserve flow. Number 5 is corridors and hallways. Remember to keep them bare and bright. Narrow spaces need breathing room. Avoid side tables, coat racks, or gallery walls that project into the pathway. Use lighting strategically. Align a wall's sconces, floor-level LEDs, or a narrow rug in a single color can pull your eye forward and make the corridor feel longer and lighter. I suggest you to place a mirror right at the end. If possible, draw attention to a natural light source or hang a mirror at the end of the corridor to create a vanishing point. Let me show you how this idea of the visual axis played out in real life. Because there's one thing to talk about visual flow, and it's another thing to build it into a home that truly transforms how someone lives. One of my favorite examples is a townhouse in Islington, where I redesigned completely the entire ground floor. The home had beautiful bones, but the layout was working against the space rather than with it. It felt dark, disconnected, and underused. The problem wasn't square footage, it was fragmentation. The kitchen was tucked to the rear with barely any natural light. The understair area was wasted. The vaults at the front, completely unusable. But more than that, there was no clear visual line to guide the eye through the space. Every corner felt like it was competing for attention. There was no rhythm, no flow, and no real center. That's where the design began. I didn't start with materials or styles. I started with sidelines. I reoriented the entire layout to create a strong visual axis, from the front vaults all the way through the new sliding doors at the rear garden. Every element was designed to reinforce that sense of openness. We flipped the staircase, unlocking space for a compact toilet and freeing up the layout. We moved the kitchen to the front, turning what was a gloomy corner into the vibrant heart of the home. We opened up the rear wall and designed a step terrace to bring in light and make the garden part of the living space. And we even lowered the basement floor so that the vaults could become a functional, walkable utility room, no longer dead space. The result? From the moment you walked into the property, your eye flows effortlessly from front to the back. Light finally can move through the home. So does air, so does life. And my client felt it immediately. She said something I'll never forget. It finally feels like the house is breathing again. That's what a new visual axis can do. It's not just about what you see, it's about how a space feels and how it supports your life without shouting for attention. When designing for visual flow, what you leave out is as important as what you include. Even the best layout can be undone by a few common mistakes. So here's what to avoid if you want your home to feel spacious, calm, and grounded. Number 1, don't block the visual axis. As we said before, avoid placing oversized furniture, tall shelving units, or even a single bulky armchair in the path of your sightline. If the eye can't travel clearly from one end of the space to the other, the room will feel smaller and more chaotic than it actually is. Ask yourself these questions. Can I see from one side of the room to the other without any interruption? Is there a clean line between focal points, like a window, a fireplace, or a piece of art? If the answer is no, then something is in the way, and it's probably doing more harm than good. Number 2 is to avoid floating islands of decor. A coffee table dropped in the middle of a room with no relation to the sofa. An ottoman hovering awkwardly between two chairs. A sculpture on the floor with no framing or context. These are what I call floating islands. Objects that disrupt spatial harmony because they don't feel anchored to anything around them. Instead, make sure that each piece has a reason to be where it is, relationally and visually. Number 3, don't overdo contrast in color or texture. Abrupt changes in color, material, or texture interrupt spatial continuity. A dark rug between two pale ones, or a patch of black tiles in an otherwise neutral wood floor. That doesn't mean everything needs to match perfectly, but the transitions should feel more seamless and intentional. Use tone-on-tone palettes or gradual shifts in texture to maintain the sense of cohesion. Number 4, watch out for over-decorating walls and ceilings. Sometimes people think blank equals boring, so they overcompensate, hanging too many small artworks, adding textured panels everywhere, or painting featured walls in clashing tones. But just like clutter on the floor, visual clutter on the walls can weigh the room down. Instead, select a few well-placed pieces that reinforce your focal point or axis, and let the rest of the room breathe. Remember, I'm not gonna stop saying this, thoughtful design is as much about what you leave out as what you put in. Give the eye permission to travel, and the space will feel calmer, lighter, and more alive. Thanks so much for watching. I hope the message came through clearly. Sometimes just one thoughtful change, like opening up a clear line of sight, can completely shift the way a space feels. And above all, the way you feel in it. If this video gave you a fresh perspective, please let me know. What's one thing you'd change in your home right now to make it feel instantly bigger and more alive? Tell me your ideas in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, go and hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I post new videos every Sunday at 5 p.m. and when I can, midweek too. And if you've got a project in mind and want to work together, you can reach out through my website. I'll leave the link and my email address in the description of the video below. Until the next one, ciao.